And I've achieved more in terms of our marketing over the last 4 months than I probably did on my own individual basis in the best part of a whole year of last year. So,
Yeah.
many hands make light work. That's for sure.
Power to Live More with Joe Dodds.
Welcome to the Power to Live More podcast, all about productivity, organisation, well-being, energy and resilience. I'm Jo Dodds, and I started this show to enable interesting people to share their stories about how they use their power to live more, and by that I mean to do the stuff that they want to do more than the stuff that they need to or should do. It's about creating a life for yourself where you have the energy, health and space to be happy and fulfilled, spending your time as you'd like, whether that be at work, home or somewhere else entirely. That's your choice.
Hello. My name is Ellie Dodds and I'm co-presenter, and today Joe is interviewing Daryl Cygler of Smartphone Video Marketing. Daryl says his biggest achievement is that he's the proud father to 2 kids who have grown into awesome young adults. He's an English Channel swimmer, wild swimmer, and overall swimming enthusiast and lover of water. He is the South East England sausage champion. He says he is a video marketing enthusiast with obsessive online tendencies. Back to the studio.
Today I'm interviewing Daryl Cygler of Smartphone Video Marketing. Welcome, Daryl. Thanks for joining me.
Joe, thank you for having me. Really happy to be part of your podcast.
Lovely. So start by telling us who you are, what you do, and crucially, where you do it.
Okay, so my business is Smartphone Video Marketing. Essentially, we help SME businesses, consultants start and scale their video marketing efforts. And we do that primarily without video production companies, without expensive equipment, and without actually having filmmaking experience. And we do all that by just utilizing a smartphone.
It's does what it says on the tin, your company business name, isn't it?
Well, exactly. I mean, people don't have to sort of think about it. It's. I thought keep it simple, and yeah, as you say.
And where do you do it? Where are you based? Are you based at home? Where are you currently?
Yeah, so as you can probably tell, I'm an Australian, but I am a UK-based Australian, based in Surrey, Reigate, Surrey. Currently work out of small sort of offices, and yeah, I mean, it's a business that's evolved out of necessity, really, because I have got a B2B business that's based in Australia, and it's a business that's very industrial based. It's not really social media friendly in any way. Very practical, serves in the industries. We do fuel tanks fundamentally. That's what it is. But
wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, exactly. But we sort of came through the process of trying to get out video for our business. I stumbled across what was the process of learning to make video with my smartphones. And from that, really, I've evolved the process, and I really see it as a valuable tool for what is, independent consultants, SME business owners, being able to tell their story about what they do and how they do it with video in their smartphone.
Yes, yeah. So all sorts of questions from that, really, which is sort of, how did you end up in the UK? How can you run a business in Australia when you're in the UK? And how do you do more than one thing? There's so many questions. So tell us a bit more about the backstory. I mean, you've obviously explained where the smartphone video marketing came from sort of in recent years, but tell us a bit more of your background.
Okay, backstory. Well, I was a young lad, the prime age of 25, just wanted to go and see the world. And I thought I'll go and check out the UK, what was originally just an adventure. And, life plays a funny way of just taking its own path. And lo and behold, the best part of 25 years later, I'm still here, got 2 English kids. And yeah, it's very much a part of trying to sort of balance UK life, Australian life, and the challenges that go with that. But fortunately, we have this amazing thing called the internet, 24/7 access to just about everything. So it really enables me to run multiple businesses from being based wherever I am. And that was one of the reasons I wanted to get into internet marketing in the first instance, because I sort of foresaw the future and the way that you could run businesses. And I very much transitioned in, what was it, about 2008 into what was online marketing.
So are you effectively saying you just stay up 24/7? Because I do
gosh.
quite a lot of work with Australia, and I do sort of 11 o'clock in the morning or 11 o'clock at night, and not a lot.
No. I mean, gosh, I wouldn't be able to last that long if that was the case. But no, I mean, it can be a challenge sometimes, because, as you say, you know, you do have sort of late night meetings, or you tend to sort of have to get on calls quite early. It is a balance. And, you know, over the years, that's something I've had to try and manage, just in terms of understanding how you book your meetings, how you apply that principle. Because, you know, sometimes if you have late night meetings, the next thing you know, you're not getting any sleep because your brain's working overtime trying to process everything. And, you know, that's not sustainable. So
no.
It's definitely time management in terms of prioritization, and just trying to get a good balance of what works for everyone.
So how did it come about? Were you sort of living between the two countries, and that's how you were able to create a sort of physical business in Australia? Because obviously you're talking internet marketing, you're talking about video, and that you can do easily from anywhere. But most people wouldn't start a sort of tangible offline business the other side of the world, I'm presuming.
No. I mean, I guess the key to that physical bricks and mortar business, if you want to call it that, in Australia is team. You know, the team that we have. I am one of three partners. The business is FES Tanks in Australia, and, you know, between the three partners within the business, we all bring a different aspect to that business. So I bring the internet marketing side of things, so I can very much run that from a virtual perspective. We have other team members internally that I lean on that help fulfill what I need. I also lean on freelancers, and, you know, they're located in different parts of the world as well, in terms of facilitating that. And then, you know, we have other key members of the business who look after the manufacturing, look after the technical aspects. And I mean, we just make it work. And it's amazing that in this day and age, we can create a business that necessarily we don't have to be in the same room to make it work. And that gives us a lot of freedom and a lot of opportunities as well.
Yes. So you mentioned the marketing, the video marketing came about because that's what you were doing for that business. What sort of prompted the having that as a separate business, and how do you manage the two? We've already said, you know, because you're in different countries and different types of business and everything else, but just for anyone, focusing on two businesses is hard. Focusing on two businesses that are quite different is harder still. And obviously, as we already said, being in different countries, maybe you've just sort of expelled that thought, and maybe, you know, that doesn't feel so difficult from what you've said. But how do you prioritize? How do you not end up being everything to everybody with two quite different businesses?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question, because some days there is very much a sense of overwhelm. And that's something you have to try and manage. It's all about priorities. And I mean, the challenge with the business in Australia is that, you know, I wake up and they've effectively had a day's work. So I'm getting the, you know, emails coming into my inbox that I just have to assess there and then. But equally, I finished from the day before knowing what I have to do for my smartphone business. So I already have a plan in place in terms of what I'm going to be doing tomorrow. And then I get into work and I have these whole stream of emails from Australia. So first and foremost, it's prioritizing what needs to be done from the here and now, and, you know, ultimately what can wait. I do a lot of lists, and then just trying to understand within that list what takes priority. You know, you can't achieve everything within the context of the here and now, and it's just a matter of working through that list as and when time dictates. Small steps achieve a lot. So it's just ticking off the items. And I mean, the great thing about lists to a certain extent is you can go back and, in the grand scheme of things, you can actually see what you've achieved over a longer time period. So that's pivotal. But I mean, the businesses are completely different in every sense, and it's very much playing to the strengths of the demand on each as they sort of present themselves.
And I ask all my guests to send in their bio, and just reading yours, it says English Channel swimmer, wild swimmer, swimming enthusiast even. It doesn't sound. And you've got 2 children that you've talked about who you're proud to say they've grown into, as you've put it, awesome young adults. It doesn't sound like it's all work and no play. So how does that work?
It's definitely a balance, but I think the key point is trying to make it so it works for you. I mean, work is intrinsically bonded to who we are as individuals. It's a big part of your identity. It defines your worth to a certain extent, but at the same time, you don't want it to overpower and govern you in every sense. So, I always try and balance out my, the exercise side of things, the mental stimulation, which very much drives the work side of things, definitely. But it's understanding those moments when work is definitely coming to the fore and trying to pull back and get the personal aspects of things coming into play. Because ultimately, as freelancers, consultants, entrepreneurs, we all went into this to try and create a better lifestyle for ourselves. That was our driving factor around why we wanted to start our own business. But sometimes that reason why can start to sort of overpower everything. And it's realizing that it has to be a balance.
Yes, absolutely. And somewhere along the line, I think you did realize that, because apparently you're the Southeast England sausage champion. What does that mean?
Well, that was another business. So I mean, I've done I go through phases of businesses, and at one stage I actually had butcher shops as well, and a big part of that, we were making a lot of sausages. And yes, I'm proud to say I'm the Southeast England sausage champion. But random fact of the day, just blended in as, so I'm a fuel making, smartphone video producing sausage champion of Southeast England. Random.
That is so brilliant. So why, out of all the things you could have done with online marketing, did it become about video, and not just video, but smartphone video?
Great question. I mean, as I said earlier, the challenges we had around introducing video to our business in Australia were very, very front of mind. I came from a big digital agency life prior to going into business for myself, and I very much understood the power that video brought to the equation from a very personal point of view. So, we tried to do what a lot of other people do and we just went to a video production company and they came in, did what they did. But I soon realized that it wasn't something we could scale. I mean, it cost us a lot of money because we're essentially a little startup business. B, we had to stop everything that we did on the day to accommodate this whole filming process. And I realized it wasn't something we could do at scale. So I just sort of parked it. And then I came across a term called mobile journalism in 2016. And primarily this was journalists who were going out and filming news stories on their smartphones. And I'm like, what? Okay. And that was it. They were going out and they were capturing video moments, video stories on their smartphone. They were recording on their smartphone. Mm-hmm. They were sometimes editing on their smartphones as well. And then these stories were going into what was prime time 6 o'clock news pieces. And I'm talking the likes of the BBC, ITV, RTE in Ireland. And I just went, whoa, whoa, whoa. For me, it was a light bulb moment. And I just thought, well, okay, if these global brands are pushing smartphone video content to what is primetime news, well, then why can't business owners do that to market their business with video?
Mm-hmm.
And the other great thing about the smartphone is it's a device that's always on you. And that's one of the big advocacies of what I try and teach. It's capturing the moments of your business as and when they happen. Because, yeah, okay, you can go out and get a video production company and they may come in and record those moments, but ultimately they'll leave. You know, you're talking about all the other moments during the year that may happen that you have an opportunity to capture and then be able to package that up into a marketing video, just a sharing video, something that shows the personal side of your business, what you do, how you do it.
Yeah.
And I think that's key. That's key.
Yeah, as you say, that sort of more ongoing sort of story of your business. It's interesting if you just think about the smartphone generally in our lives. You know, I look at my mother-in-law who has an iPhone and has done for a good few years now. She never used to take photos ever. She was never somebody who had a camera in her hand. She used to say that she wasn't very good at doing photography or taking photos, and so she never did it. And yet, as soon as she got her phone and found that button, she takes, you know, thousands on a sort of monthly basis sort of thing, maybe not quite that many, but she takes photos all the time, which document her life now that she would never have done before because she's got a phone in her hand. Yeah,
exactly. And that's another big aspect of why I feel smartphone video marketing is a really appealing angle for people to get into video, because you know, you've got all the equipment, you've got the cameras, you've got the devices. And if you want to get into video to tell your story, learning to come to terms with these new devices is, you know, that's another intimidating aspect of video that you need to learn. Mm-hmm. Whereas with the phone, with the smartphone, it's something that people are just comfortable with. You know, they know how to activate the camera. They know how to take videos. So straight away, that level of intimidation is reduced drastically. And all we do is we harness that familiarity, if you like, and just give them focus, a system, a way to be able to tell those stories in a more efficient way. And that's the benefit. And as you say, it's just always there. It's in the back pocket and you can just pull it out.
Yeah, it's interesting. A few years ago, when I specialised in social media marketing for a good few years when it first came along, and then I moved into employee engagement in the sort of corporate space. And I did that because I saw that social media and digital tools were going to be much more important within organisations for collaboration and communication and so on. And one of the things I used to talk about at that stage was a company that did video for corporate. So they were more of the sort of big go for it sort of video people, but they had a platform and they used a video to show, it was somebody from something like P&G, or it wasn't P&G, but one of those, you know, big companies, going to Buckingham Palace to receive an innovation award. And the chief executive whipped his phone out and videoed himself standing outside Buckingham Palace telling his staff, you know, hundreds of thousands of staff in the company, how excited he was for all of them that he was going to accept this honour on their behalf, sort of thing. And
that's brilliant.
It was such a pivotal sort of video for me to see, because it, as you say, it went from being that let's only get the production companies in and do something amazing once, to this is real life, this is me, this is your leader showing you how proud I am and including you in the experience. And that was a real sign for me of how powerful our videos are, as you say, in our back pocket, ready to be used for all sorts of reasons.
Yeah, I mean, great story. And yeah, I second that. It's all about capturing those moments. And I mean, when I talk about smartphone video, there's so many different aspects to that. There's very much the here and now, the live aspect, as you've just mentioned, as a perfect example. But also there's other aspects where you can create videos more from a strategic point of view and create videos more with a marketing message in mind. And that's something you would actually set out to shoot and produce with a very specific message. And you would shoot that very much in a documentary, almost like a mobile journalism sort of way, in a sense that it could be something that would be comparable with seeing a news article, very structured in the way it's shot and its messaging.
Yeah.
So there's so many different aspects and styles to the type of video you can shoot with your smartphone, but it's understanding, what's appropriate for that style of video at the time.
Mm-hmm. So let's think again about yourself and getting things done. Let's think a bit about practically how you get that done. You talked about lists earlier. How do you do that? Do you use tools? Do you just write a list on a bit of paper? How do you get done what needs to get done?
It's funny. I mean, I've got I use multiple tools, if you like, online and offline. So I've got, as I look at the wall here, I actually have A4 bits of paper stuck onto the wall for the different businesses and the different things I have to do.
Yeah.
So there's very much that side of it, as in I can physically see the lists, which helps me understand what I have to do at a quick glance.
Yeah.
But equally, the tools that I use online, because we have such an international presence, it's very much about devices. Dropbox, for instance, is one we use because it's all about the cloud.
Yes.
And the people within the business having live access to data as and when they need it. And that's also data that's accessible not just from a desktop point of view, but also from a mobile point of view. So the business in Australia, FES Tanks, we very much use Dropbox and Teams.
Yeah.
To be able to access that. Smartphone video marketing, internally, we very much use a Google Suite.
Mm-hmm.
And, the common thread between all of them is, that cloud-based 24/7 live format, which is so invaluable.
Yes. Yeah. And as you say, just that being able to sort of collaborate across, thousands of miles is amazing. I work with the Engage for Success movement in the UK, and we don't have an office. We never have done. And, for sort of nearly 10 years, we've all worked wherever.
Yeah.
With various tools that enable us to do that. And it never ceases to amaze me what's possible nowadays with all that technology.
Yeah. And if anything, COVID has just accelerated that ability to work in your own environment. So there's definitely been some positives that have come out of this whole situation.
Yeah,
definitely.
So what about tips for delegating and working with people remotely? You're probably a good person to ask for that on the basis that it's very remote. It's not just down the road. No. Gosh. In terms of delegating, it's just understanding what your skill set is. I'm pretty sure most people will know where their strengths sit and they will know where their shortcomings are. What I would say to you is, don't try and take the DIY approach to doing stuff that is not your strength. Yeah. Try and outsource that to a professional. It's very much a false economy to a certain extent when you try and do it yourself. Yes, you may get it done, but it will get, A, it may not be as good. B, it will probably take you longer. And C, that's a false economy in itself. Yeah. There are people very good at what they do, very skilled. So, lean on them and get them to do it for you. Mm-hmm. Totally understand it's very much dependent on your budget and being able to manage what you can and can't outsource. But that's what I would say would be a goal, to lean on people and freelancers, consultants, and delegate where you can. Yes. And it's certainly something that when you're first starting out, there's a tendency to want to or feel like you need to do everything yourself. And there's a bit of an enlightenment that happens when you do outsource something or you do get somebody involved to do something that you're not good at or they're better at it than you are, and you suddenly realize all the opportunities that you've been missing until that point.
Yeah, exactly. Case in point, I was doing smartphone video marketing best part of last year by myself, doing all my own videos and talking about what we do and how we do it and social media and so on and so forth. And I took the plunge this year, January the 11th. I actually took on a colleague. He started the first week of the 2021 lockdown, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to back out of this. This is something that needs to be done. And he's, my colleague Jamie's been with me the best part of 4 months now.
Mm-hmm.
And I've achieved more in terms of our marketing over the last 4 months than I probably did on my own individual basis in the best part of a whole year of last year. So, many hands make light work. That's for sure.
Absolutely. So what about learning and improving yourself? You said that you've been very involved in online marketing. I think before we came live, we were talking about sort of back from the early days. How have you learned, and how do you continue to improve, and how do you keep up with what's happening?
From a professional point of view, I'm sure it's no different to anyone else, but I very much are tuned into, key platforms that are at the forefront of spreading news about what they're doing and how they do it. Webmasters, news articles, so on and so forth. So I do a lot of reading from that point of view, from a professional point of view, by all means. But I guess from a personal point of view, that's interesting as well, because I've always been interested in, the physical side of things. I always strive for, I'm very much into my physical fitness and so on and so forth. But one thing lockdown has taught me definitely is about the mental side of things, and focusing on that. Physically, I'm all about getting it done, getting the sweat and being in the moment and enjoying that. But, your mind is a muscle as well. And the last 4 months has pretty much taught me from an introspective point of view about, just focusing more on the mind and focusing on that as a muscle as well. So, yeah, I've been sort of looking at ways to unlock the sort of mental aspects of what I do as well, just learning to relax, live in the moment, appreciate what's around us, so on and so forth.
Yeah, I think this last year has definitely encouraged that for many people, not necessarily through choice or
no, yeah, exactly. It's a good, there was definitely the moments of it, as you say, it forced your hand, but I think it's not a bad hand to force, because it's made people a lot more aware of their mental state, and it's something that is a good thing to review and to manage.
Yes, yeah. So just going back to your bio again, you talk about being a video marketing enthusiast with obsessive online tendencies. What does that mean?
Well, by the very nature of being wired 24/7 online, you can't help but everything about the internet these days is obsessive. If you choose to allow it, it can very much come into your life. And I try and understand as much as I can about the internet, digital marketing, the way things work. And I guess that's very much the obsessive part of things, the way I position it there. But equally, the older I've got, and, as well with things that have happened the last year, it's also understanding that you've got to have boundaries. And in some ways I've gone 24/7 in the sense that, from 9 to 5, I really want to be obsessive. I want to understand what I do. I want to understand how I can prove myself professionally. But the flip side of that, you have to have clear, defined boundaries. So, after the 5 o'clock cutoff period, to a certain extent, I want to turn off the notifications. I want to have that separation. I want to have that me time. And you need to have those defined boundaries. It's just the healthy approach.
Yes, yeah. And I think, I talk a lot in my 5 fundamentals under sustain about how you set up, routines and rituals and habits and that sort of thing. But I think a big part of that is also about constantly reviewing them and sort of tweaking and changing as necessary. I mean, I think again over the last year for me that to begin with, I was laughing with somebody earlier saying I picked up some work just as we came into lockdown last year, which meant that I was working quite a few hours coaching that I wasn't doing before. So where everyone else seemed to be going out learning how to knit yogurt, as I describe it, do all their hobbies that they've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
I seem to have no time to do anything. And I seem to be working sort of longer than ever. And then I went through a period of time where, as I said, because I work with some students in Australia, that I was meeting them at like 10 or 11 o'clock at night, most nights of the week, which for me isn't a problem because I'm a night bird, so I'm wide awake at that time of night and on it, and that's fine, and I sleep in the morning and that's fine. But that also meant that my evening became sort of shortened because it was aperitif as we have in our house at 6:30 right through till 8:30, 9 o'clock, and then I went back to work, and that meant that I didn't have an evening because it was cut short, sort of thing. Yeah. And I'm now in a position where, I only have one of those students left now. The others are at different times of the day or they've moved on. And I'm realizing actually how much calmer it is to finish work at, 6:30 for dinner. And even if I do work later, it's my own work that I want to do, not because I'm having to turn up to a schedule. And, yes. And what a difference that makes to your, mindset, as you say, your sort of well-being.
Yeah, definitely. Choices. That's choices, and the way you frame a position makes so much of a difference.
Yeah. Yeah. So then to myself, I keep thinking, right, so don't start that again because it's better now than it was. But then, other things might take the fall,
Yeah, but equally, because you've been through that experience, you now know how.
Yes.
How to deal with that in the future should it come up again, and you can assess it based on that experience. So it's a good experience to go through.
Yes. Yeah. So what about yourself and routines and habits and rituals? What sort of things do you have in place in relation to
that? Routines and habits. I mean, you made reference to the swimming. I try and do as much swimming as I can, be it early mornings, setting up the day, sometimes late in the evenings, depending, because I am part of a swimming club as well. So that sort of gives me the mental release, if you like, either at the end of the day or framing it for the start of the day in terms of energy. Again, in terms of understanding more about how the mind works, so on and so forth, I've been getting into the practice of trying to meditate, understand more about that, just trying to calm the mind, appreciating the small things. I've just started using an app called Perfectly, and what it does is just helps you appreciate all the positives that you've achieved for that day.
Right.
And I find that's quite nice. I've also started doing a bit of journaling, stuff like that. Sometimes when the mind is just racing, I'm very fortunate that I've got a girlfriend who is a life coach, so I can sort of lean on her in terms of getting skills to, understand what's going on and get that down. And so, journaling is a big part of understanding and just releasing what's in your head. So, I mean, there's a multiple of skills that come into play, but it's always evolving, and it ebbs and flows as those moves ebbs and flows as well.
Yes. Yeah. So last couple of questions. First one, what about those days where it all goes horribly wrong? How do you deal with those?
Yeah, some days I'm like, what the hell am I doing? And why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's challenging. I guess the benefit of running your own business is some days I have that ability just to say, I surrender, and I mean, it happened probably a couple of weeks ago. I just came in and it got to about 10, 11 o'clock and my mind was all over the place and I wasn't really achieving a lot. And I just said, you know what? I give up. I surrender. And I just said, look, I'm sitting here getting nothing done is achieving nothing. So I just said, I'm out of here. And I just, called it a day and just went out and caught up with the people that mattered to me and just enjoyed that moment with them. And it was good. It was what I needed. And almost like did a hard reset and came in the next day.
Yeah. Yeah. I was doing a webinar this morning, and I said one of the things that's regularly said in answer to that question on my podcast is tomorrow's another day.
Oh gosh.
Walk away and come back.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
If you know, and I think the key is being able to realize you have that decision.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And then the last question, on those days where you get to live more, and that's where I say you get to do more of the things that you want to do and less of the stuff that you don't want to do. What do those days look like for you?
Well, ultimately, it's just enjoying the moments and understanding, the people around you that are important to you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my kids are getting older now, definitely. As a parent, I think everything that we do falls back to, the people that are closest to us, your family, so on and so forth. And so it's primarily it's experiences, and those experiences are, those moments and those family members around you.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that's why lockdown's been so hard for everyone, because we've effectively been starved of those experiences and that stimulation. And, we want to be able to, as you say, live more through those experiences.
Yes. Yeah, I think so. Thank you, Daryl. It's been great interviewing you today. Tell people how they can find out more about you and get in touch.
Yeah, by all means, Joe. So you can get hold of myself through LinkedIn. First and foremost, let's connect there. It'd be great to talk if you've got any challenges around video or video marketing. Equally, you can go to smartphonevideo.marketing. You can check out more there. We've got a little ebook you can download to understand more about the ideas and the principles, as well as, various blog articles. So they're really the two places that are best to find me.
Brilliant. Thanks, Daryl. Thanks for your time.
Excellent, Joe. Stay well.
Attention, home-based coaches and consultants. Are you tired of feeling alone, isolated, and frustrated with running a home-based coaching or consulting business? Are you sick of feeling like your life would be better and you'd be happier if you felt more organised and productive? Do you feel like there's simply not enough time in a day to get all the things done that you need to do to build a successful business while making time to live more? It's time to stop the isolation and start getting more organised, productive, and focused on the skills that will move the needle forward. It's time to join the Power to Live More Calm membership. If you're ready to, stop creating the wheel and focus on the things that truly matter in your life and business. Learn what you need to know to be successful and live more. Get accountability help from a group of like-minded home-based business owners. To learn more about the Power to Live More Calm membership program and apply, visit powertolivemore.com/getcalm.
All this information is available in the show notes, which you can get if you go to the app that you're listening to this on, or on the website at powertolivemore.com/224. This week, I just want to remind you, as we go into September, of some of the services that I offer that might be of interest to you or somebody that you know who is a new coach or consultant and needs to get set up from a business and digital particularly point of view. If you go to my website, powertolivemore.com/work-with-me, then you'll find the different ways that I can help you. I do a lot of my work through my membership site, Power to Live More Calm, where I have gold membership for members who are looking to do a bit more DIY, and then also platinum, which is for members who are looking for some one-to-one coaching and some masterminding around improving their business, improving their productivity, and really getting to live more. And that's where I talk about getting to do more of the things that you want to do and less of the stuff that you don't want to do. If you're a new coach or consultant, then please get in touch about how I can help you. I can help you to set up your digital marketing, think about your productivity, think about your website and all that sort of thing. And I have a VIP program and bespoke services to do that. Separately to that, I can help with an SEO optimized, service focused website. I've been teaching WordPress since 2006. And I'm also an Aweber certified expert, so I can help you with your email marketing if that's what you need help with. So feel free to go to my website, powertolivemore.com, and have a look at the sorts of things that I can do to help you, or just get in touch by emailing me at joe@powertolivemore.com. I'd really appreciate it if you enjoy the podcast, if you could share it with someone else so that I can grow the audience and help more people with the tips and information that we share on the podcast. And if you'd like to find out more about my membership site, Power to Live More Calm, then you can go to powertolivemore.com/getcalm. I'm just coming to the end of 2 months of being away from home. I've been travelling around the UK in my caravan, working from it and socialising with my friends and family at various places in Scotland and the Lake District, and I'm currently in Yorkshire, and I'll be due home next week into September for the last few months of the year. I like to think that I'm living more part of Power to Live More, and I've been able to run my business through solar power and mobile internet. So if that's something that's of interest to you and you'd like to talk about how I do that, then please do get in touch, Joe at powertolivemore.com. Again, this week's show notes are at powertolivemore.com/224, and we look forward to speaking to you next week.
Use your power to live more.